Good afternoon, everybody. You are joined here today with Steve Stallard, and I have Courtney with me today. Courtney is a part of our sales team, and we're going to talk about sublimation tips and tricks. We're going to talk a little bit about the Epson F570. You're going to ask us a lot of questions, hopefully, and we're going to have a lot of good answers for you. We're going to cover some sublimation blanks, so please make this interactive and all that good stuff. So first, some house cleaning tips. Do we have that slide? No?
No, we don't have any slides, Steve. Come on. We moved on. No, but you said house cleaning tips. Let's talk about some housekeeping tips.
There you go.
Well, do you have some house cleaning tips, though?
No, I don't.
I know we were talking about that off air before we started. If you are on your mobile device, we will be using multiple cameras today, including a screen share at some point. So please make sure that you swipe up and down on a tablet or a phone if you're joining us that way. On your computer, you'll see the screens pop up. If you're having trouble hearing right now, feel free to try to log out and log back in. Sometimes that clears the issue. Or use the dial-in number that's on the right-hand part of your screen and listen through a phone. That always works if you're not having success with your computer. So
perfect.
There, got it all covered.
Thank you. You know, this is my first webinar in a while, so I'm a little rusty. Okay, so don't mind anything I say. But first off, we're gonna have some poll questions. We just want to understand where everybody is with sublimation that's joined us today. Where you're at in your sublimation journey, what kind of printer you have. If you're new to sublimation, that just helps us tailor our content for you. So the first one, are you currently doing sublimation today? So we'll open up this poll. Please click yes or no. Okay, everybody's doing it already. So 92% of you, 89%, okay, so that number's going up here. We've had about 80 or 75%, so it's so far away I can't see. 75% of you answer, so if a few more of you would join in and answer that question. Okay, perfect. All right, so we'll go to the next one. So about 87% of you are doing sublimation today, and it's about 20% of you or so are new to sublimation. With that being said, so then we want to understand, if you are doing sublimation today, what brand of sublimation printer are you using? Okay, wow, overwhelmingly Epson. So some of you could be converted Epsons, which is going to fall into that category too. A lot of you may be using the F570. And then 10% of you are using Sawgrass, and 9% of you you don't know. Okay, or you don't own one yet. Okay, perfect. And the last question, which we can tell from there, is if you're are you currently in the market for a new sublimation printer? And let's see where we go here. Okay. I don't mean to look like I'm squinting, but I am, so. So 27% of you are yes, you are, 67% no, and 11% not sure. Okay, well, great. Perfect. So let's get started. Since I have the Epson here, I want to just talk about this a little bit. So maybe those of you who are in the minority that are looking for this, or maybe you have a Sawgrass today, you're looking to upgrade, or maybe you've done a converted Epson home printer and you really want to get into something that's going to help with production. This guy is an amazing printer. This has been out on the market for a few years now, and it is a workhorse. So one of the awesome things about this is the versatility as far as your size that you're able to print. So you can go from your cut sheets 8.5 by 11, 8.5 by 14, 11 by 17, all the way up to doing 17-inch rolls and 24-inch rolls. So it's also a very cost-effective printer. When you look at some of the competitors out on the marketplace, the Epson, hands down, is so affordable. When you look at the ink, somewhere up towards 75–80% less expensive than some of the competing products. So it's a great printer to use. It's a bulk system. It's very easy to fill and maintain. This printer is very forgiving as far as your maintenance and so forth. So if you are in the market for a new sublimation printer or looking to increase your production, if you're coming from a desktop unit, this F570 is an amazing printer. So feel free to ask any questions in the chat. We do have our whole team of folks here answering questions. So please throw anything you want in the chat, and we'll answer that as we go along the way. I think right now we'll jump back to Courtney. We'll talk about some sublimation straights, and I'll add in some stuff in between there about stuff. So go ahead.
Perfect. Well, I'm going to start over here. So this is a really great transition to, as you guys look at the printer, have questions about it, to really start thinking about going back to school in holiday time. So our team did a really great job here of preparing some of those items that kind of fit the bill for that. One biggest thing here is I can't believe we're, 3-4 months out from holiday season already. So that's crazy to think about. But as we start getting closer to holiday season, you guys are going to start seeing a lot of holiday ornaments. So the one I'm holding here is great for sublimation. You can see that it is one of our, it's really cool, different shape, but we're also going to have a lot of different things in the way of, you can use these as gift favors, invites to a wedding. You can also use them for, just various family photos, put those on the Christmas tree. So that's a really cool option for holiday.
Somebody want to know what that ornament was made of?
This is a glass ornament.
Glass ornament. Can we, tell you what, Steve, can you bring it over here to the camera?
Okay.
A little closer.
And one thing is you're new to sublimation, some of you might be getting into it, and everybody wants to try different products out there. And again, because here, let me put that on a darker background, my purple shirt, I can't see it at all, but there you go. As you get into sublimation, there's always that temptation to buy something you've seen off of Amazon or other things. One of the nice things that, companies like Johnson Plastics Plus do is we have all those sublimation ready items for you right on our website, jpplus.com, and the tech tips will talk about that. But we've got all the items we've tested for you, so you're not wasting your time and your money as you're getting started, so that you have everything necessary to get rolling.
Absolutely. So, and especially you folks that do have the Epson F570, just remember we are testing our items with this machine. So you should be set up with those tips online. Also, things to think about too, I didn't even mention at the start of this, would be wedding season. So not just summer is wedding season. As we get into the fall, we're gonna have a lot of outdoor weddings. And I tell you what, your bridesmaids are gonna need something to, put their earrings in or put their jewelry in for the day. So this nice burlap option here, it's pretty cool. And I'll have Steve he's gonna be my show horse
today. Who doesn't
today.
need a little burlap sack here? Yeah, see that? Color looks great on it. These look really nice, and they sublimate very well. These products are easy to get started with. So.
Hey, Steve, we had a question.
Yes.
Printer question. Somebody wanted to know if you could compare the F570 to, say, the Sawgrass SG1000.
Quality-wise, I mean, your Sawgrass makes a great product. I mean, it's if you're looking to get started into that, the desktop models are great. The SG1000 is a great printer. Where you really get into it is if your production's going up. I personally like the Epson because from an ink standpoint, it's going to be a lot less expensive. You're going to be able to do larger runs with this. The Epson F570 comes with a true RIP software. The Epson Edge Print, where the Sawgrass has Print Manager, a lot of great tools in there. It's similar to a RIP, has some basic color settings in there, but with the Edge RIP, there's going to be some more tools in there. It's just, when you compare it, again, it's when you come to a point where you're trying to do larger runs, larger volumes, larger print size like that, that's what you're going to really want to look at. If you're just doing drinkware and you're not looking to expand in some other things, you can start with an SG 500 or a 1000, but all of those manufacturers, Sawgrass and Epson, have a great printer. Print quality wise, I think they're both very nice. I mean, again, what makes the difference is understanding good artwork. There's an old saying, and it is crap in, crap out. And I know that's blunt, but if your artwork's not good, your artwork out is not going to be great, no matter what the printer is. So getting your artwork right, understanding colors, understanding having the right time, temperature, pressure on your substrates. There's some things that go into that, but obviously we're here to help you with that. So, any other questions, George?
Hey, give me 1 second, Steve. Go ahead, keep talking.
Okay. Sure. And yeah, so if you have questions about the F570 or not sure where it fits within your business, I mean, feel free to give us a call. We can help you through that and just kind of determine what printer makes sense. And then sometimes we have bigger printers than this. We've had a ton of customers who start out with an F570 and go to a 44-inch and a 64-inch Epson. So if your business is at that point, there may be a time to really consider that, because then again, you're looking at larger output, less expensive, faster, so forth and so on.
So we had a really good question. A customer is asking about paper. They hate wasting paper when they have to print a small item on a big sheet of paper. So, but I think this F570 addresses that, doesn't it?
Well, it does. So a couple things with that. I mean, if again, sometimes you're just not going to be able to avoid that depending on how you're doing your jobs. But right here, this opens up and you've got your paper tray. So you can put it as small as an 8.5 by 11 there. So if you're doing that, don't print it on your 17-inch roll or your 24-inch roll. Throw in your cut sheet here at the top and do that. There's not another sublimation printer on the market that is in this width that gives you the ability to do that. So I know it stinks wasting paper, but sometimes it's just unavoidable. But in those cases, remember, you can use your cut sheets in here and not even have to take out your roll. So, okay.
Good.
Perfect. Well, I will move into the last item on this side, and then we are going to work into a demo here. So here's a really cool Subla home option. So we have a spooky across here. So as we work into the fall, we are still going to see a lot of content for Halloween. So as you can see, Steve's going to put that little girl right there in the front there. We have a really cool options with spooky, and we also have some holiday options as we work into Christmas. But again, you can see the quality of those photos. So those Subla home options are really great when we work into getting family photos and memories.
Before Courtney moves into the demo, can I throw something in here real quick before you ask your question?
Sure. It's your show, Steve. I'm just here.
So some of you are new to sublimation, or maybe just maybe this can be a best practice. As you're doing all these materials, listen, nothing's created equal. Everything has different time, temperature, and pressure. One, document everything. Have a journal, a sublimation journal that you go to and you follow through on things. Double checking time, temperature, and pressure between different substrates. Document that stuff. Also, the room in which you're working on your sublimation, understanding humidity levels and understanding temperature, keeping it within a working humidity range, I'd say of 45 to 50, understanding how moisture content in soft fabrics and in wood substrates, and doing pre-presses. So also storing your sublimation in a closed container, especially your cut sheets, as much as possible. I know it's a little harder with the rolls. Using a dehumidifier when you needed to, or in the wintertime, using a humidifier. So just being conscious of those things can help you save a lot of time and money. So I want to touch on that before we move into demos. Okay?
Absolutely. So,
George's got a question.
We do have a question. Somebody had a question about the spooky sign there, and they want to know how that image was sublimated on there. And I believe that's a separate plate that comes with the Subla, correct?
that is correct. And then there's going to be an adhesive tape behind there that you are going to be pressing onto it. But when you are going to be putting it in the press, it will be laying down flat. You will not be putting that sign.
For sure, don't do that. It'll hang out. And it definitely.
You don't want to know what that looks like.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. Anything else? One thing we will do, I keep thinking of things I want to say, cut Courtney off it. That's okay though. We're also going to do some basic grip stuff. We have Aaron Stout here today, and so some of you, if you've worked through our advanced support team, you've probably talked to Aaron, and he's going to cover some things with the Epson Edge print too in here. So feel free to ask those questions too. All right, so Aaron, will not.
Hey, we've had quite a few questions about the RIP software, and
Absolutely.
so you just addressed that. We're going to get to that here in a little bit with that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, we will get moving on this one. So we are going to be doing a demo quick today on a canvas bag. So what we did here with the print is we like to just kind of tear around it just to get as close to the image as possible. That's really going to help when we are pressing. Prior to putting this on there with some heat tape, we're going to take our lint roller, our handy dandy lint roller.
That is a necessary item, because if you don't, you're going to get those blue meanies, as a lot of people call them, which is just lint that with the off gas of the ink will show up, and then you've ruined a substrate. So lint roll all your soft substrates.
Yes, so perfect. Yeah, exactly. One of those things again that Steve mentions about waste. We don't want to do that. So we are going to move with our handy dandy heat tape.
Here's the thing, there's always several ways to go about things. Do what works well with you. Taping really helps, because here's the thing, there's different paper options for soft substrates. You have tacky paper, which you don't have to tape because of the heat, it tacks down. You can also see some folks will use on a standard, I call it like a multi-purpose or hybrid paper, where you use adhesive spray, where you just hit it lightly and then put it on there, or just use heat tape. So again, there's several ways that can do it. There's no wrong or right way. It's just a preference, and these are two nice things that you can do. So
Perfect. Well, we are now ready to put this on the press. So let me move around over here.
And again, if you've got a product that's got wrinkles or it's had a lot of moisture, pre-press this for like 10 seconds before you do it on fabric items. It just gets that excess moisture out of there, gets you a nice unwrinkled surface, and take away less chance for any air.
Yeah, and we are utilizing the Stahl's Hottronics today, which is also a great option.
Can you see? I know it throws the camera off.
Yep. Perfect. So we're going to roll this in here. Press this down for 45 seconds. So while we wait, Steve, do you have anything you want to go over quickly on the press?
Yeah, the stalls, with sublimation, I always say, you want a good quality printer like the Epson and Sawgrass, but you also need a good quality heat press. I know it's easy to sometimes think, well, if I just get the printer, I can buy an inexpensive Chinese press off of Amazon. That's not the case. Sometimes it's going to work for a while, but you want a good American-made heat press. Stalls, Geonite, Insta, Hicks. Those brands are more expensive, but it's going to get you consistent results and a press that's going to last you years to come. This Stalls is the Fusion IQ is our #1 selling heat press. It's got the swing away 16x20 and a drawer pull, so it makes it easy to pull the drawer away from the platen when you're doing garments and things like that. Like right here, you're going to see it. So it keeps that bottom platen. You don't have to worry about burning yourself. You will eventually, but at least not. It makes it a little less likely.
We have helped with the hazards here.
And I'm not responsible for that, so you're.
So as you can see, we have a good press here. So put that bag right.
Very simple to do, and keep in mind when you're talking about paper, you have different types of paper. I mentioned tacky paper. You have hybrid paper that's good for soft and hard substrates, and then you have high release paper, which really will release a high amount of ink for those substrates that will suck up a lot of that ink when it's off gassing. It's like fabrics. So just some things to think there. Test, figure out what works best. And when you find something that works for that particular product, don't constantly change your paper. I know it's probably tempting, like, oh, this place has it on sale. That can change variables with sublimation that you don't want to mess with, because sometimes you might not realize what's going on. I just printed, it's fine. Oh, I changed my paper to save a few pennies. So, okay.
So somebody asked, was that printed on the F570, the
Yes.
transfer that we just did? Okay.
Sure was.
So that comes in was that on a cut sheet or a roll, Steve?
That one I think was done on the roll, probably a 17-inch or 24-inch roll. When you're going to do that larger size, again, think about the size that you're wanting to do with your substrate surface size, and then just to match it to the appropriate paper. So when you get this printer, you're going to get 2 sets of ink and 3 rolls of paper. So you're going to get 2 17-inch rolls and a 24-inch roll with it. And then pick up some cut sheet paper if you don't have it already.
Another question for you, both of you. When you were doing the pre-press, you talked about that little 10-second pre-press. Do you use paper in there, or you're just literally like using it like an iron?
Yeah, just use it like a giant iron, just to get out that ink. When we did a lot of trade shows, I'd go to parts of the country like Florida where it's humid as all get out, and those shirts, when I would do that, would just be full of moisture. So we'd just do a quick press on those, and it gets out any wrinkles. Not necessarily it's going to make a difference, but you want to make sure you've got a nice, solid surface on that shirt or soft substrates. And then especially like sublimating plaques, the wood plaques, you've got to pre-press those. You'd be shocked how much moisture is in those. And again, those are all on tech tips on our website. If you don't see something you're not sure, always just give us a call, and we'll make sure, double check. Sometimes there's an error there, but we'll double check it for you.
After you do the pre-press, let me try that again. After you do the pre-press, do you have to, for that 10 seconds, do you have to let it cool?
Or it's not a bad idea to just let it cool a little bit. You don't have to let it cool a long time, because you don't want your transfer to go right into sublimating on that and then it shift. That's a very small likelihood, but you don't have to wait 5 minutes or something like that. You just want to make sure it's not too hot, because you don't want the sublimation process to maybe start prematurely and then it causes ghosting on your substrate. So, okay.
Perfect.
What else we got? What else do you want to talk about?
So I think one of the biggest, lines of products that we have is it's our drinkware category. Drinkware is popular in all shapes and sizes. So right here, what we've done is we kind of moved into our back to school items. So with your tote bag here, great option to brand it in any way for school. But also everyone needs a 15-ounce sublimatable tumbler. So Steve's gonna be showcasing that there at the front too. I'm so happy I have a runner today.
These are super nice. And listen, you can take this and make it for any market. Here we're marketing, like you said, back to school, university, local school. You can do these types of things. Teachers, when they go back to school, this year. So, there's so much that you can do with this. You can really market it to any type of group or make the same product in several different markets.
Great for like PTO fundraisers too. So I work with a lot of school systems that have, on-site spirit shops. They do a lot of fundraising. So that's a really great item for that. which kind of moves into our 20-ounce sublimation tumbler. Just to let you guys know, we do have this in 30 ounce as well. We do have it branded again for back to school, but just keep thinking really great opportunities for fundraising, for really putting anything in the way of, you know, city logos on there as well. So City of Duluth or anything like that, great for local government, things of that nature. And then the last item we do have here is our spiral bound notebook. Again, sublimatable, all of the tech tips are online. But when you're working anywhere, going back to school, you're always gonna have to jot down something. So it just makes perfect sense.
With this, when you sublimate this, you might want to put something heavier on it afterwards. So this plastic cover, I mean, anything like this. I mean, obviously you can handle the heat, but just making sure that it lays flat and dries well. Not dries, but doesn't curl after with the heat. So.
Another question we had, and this is more for general for sublimation versus some other technology. Someone asked, is that the design of the sublimation, is that in the item or on top of the item?
Yeah, so sublimation is a process where you're printing ink to a paper, and under heat and pressure, which we did with the bag, that ink goes from a solid state to a gas state. All the sublimation items are either a polyfabric or have the poly coating in it. That poly coating is made to accept the ink, and then it becomes a part of that substrate. So it's a very durable process. Once we've pressed this ink, that's in the fabric and on the surface of the hard there. It's not going to come off. It's not a transfer sitting on top. Every one of these technologies that you can use to personalize a product has pros and cons. But sublimation is a very durable process and works really well. So if you're looking for something, again, there's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of items that you can sublimate to. And again, this can go from something from a school to whatever. So keep in mind, it changes based upon your design. And people will pay for personalization, names, things like that, because that's just not in the mass of things.
A question on the F570, does it come with that stand that it's on? Because I think some folks are noticing that really cool stand.
The stand is a great add-on. I ask every customer that calls in if they need one. You can obviously put this on a nice hard table like these we have here. It is made to go on a desktop, and you can do that. So, but the stand is really nice if you don't have a desktop. And then it also has the catch basket here. You can't see it on camera, but the catch basket folds forward, and as your prints come off, it'll just drop it into the catch basket, so it's not dumping out on the floor. So the stand is really nice. I believe the stand is $249. So it's pretty affordable for, you know, when you're looking at this whole unit. You're not going to find a better value 24-inch sublimation printer on the market, hands down.
So we've got questions are coming in fast and furious, and keep them coming. We're answering some of those offline. We've got a team that are answering those, and we're getting to some here that we can live. One of the questions that we had, Steve, was about press lines on shirts.
Oh yeah.
Any tricks, tips to get rid of those? Because
yeah,
they're worse than the green meanies sometimes.
Oh, they are. So exactly. So it's pressure. Key is pressure. A lot of ways to do that is like we sell vapor foam or the foam that you will put in your in between the shirt. So making the foam larger than the image, but smaller than the transfer. And then when you put the foam in between the fabric, you want to compress that foam about halfway down. Now you don't want to crank down on it because that's what causes the press lines. Sometimes it's enough just perfing the edge of those, tearing the edge of the paper like we did on the bag for that we did the logo on. You don't have press lines. So the foam, I feel like, is the best way to do it. And again, you want to make the foam smaller than the transfer, but bigger than the image, okay? So keep that in mind, but just don't use too much pressure. I know press lines are difficult, but don't crank down on that thing. And when you use the foam, compress the foam about 50%. It's gonna take some practice, you know, start out with a shirt and some small logos and kind of get a feel for it and then go from there.
Another question we had was a customer has a Ricoh GX7000. I hope I remember that correctly. And the paper for that printer, can they use that paper with either with the Epson that we have here or any of the other sublimation printers?
Yeah, there shouldn't be an issue with that. I mean, obviously, just test it out, make sure it runs well and things like that. But yeah, there shouldn't be any issue with that. Now, keep in mind, when you change printers, I get this question a lot. Is it going to look exactly the same? No, not necessarily, especially if you're using an older printer like that. These newer printers are higher on resolution, so it might be a little different when you go to press it and so forth. So keep that in mind too. It's just the nature of the beast. But yeah, your paper should work in there, and just again, you want to test it. And if not, you can definitely. We have a lot of options. We can help you navigate those waters as far as finding you something if you just don't like the outcome and you want to try some different paper.
Courtney, question for you. The items that you were showing in front of you, all of those available from JP Plus? That was somebody had. So I don't know if we have the tumblers and all of that stuff. That's correct. We do, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. And they're in stock online, so they are ready to ship.
We are a one-stop shop for you. I mean, so from the equipment that you need, to the accessories, to the blanks, and then also, again, you buy a printer through us, we'll help you install and set it up. We don't charge you for that. That's kind of a rare in a lot of different industries. So to get that free installation remote, and Aaron and his team is always there to answer calls. So what else do we have, guys? I know you guys are all firing away at those questions.
I know they've been coming in fast and furious. We're getting ready here just in a moment to go to Aaron.
Okay.
So, but give him 1 second. He's reloading up that software.
Yeah. So
we had all these questions. So
yeah, that's okay. So as Aaron's getting the software up, we're going to bring up the Epson Edge Print. So you can bring that up. One thing to think about too is your Epson F570 can be connected wirelessly, networked or USB. I always like to have that done either wired or USB, because it's going to have the best connectivity for doing large files. So as you have your printers connected, listen, wireless sounds great, and some of you are probably doing that and have no problems. But if it's a little slower, that's why. So I always try to recommend having that done wired. So how are we looking, guys?
one more second here, but somebody had a question on an item behind you. They noticed that welcome to our home sign.
Yeah, this is another item we sell. This is on hardboard, and it's sublimated. It's got the polyester coating. It's coated for sublimation on the front, so it's all white. And again, this is another product that looks good that you can do. This stuff is also able to be cut in a laser too. So the hardboard you can cut into shapes, and you can layer it on different products. So it's a good way to offer if you have multiple technologies. I bet some of you on the call have a laser, so you can sublimate this and laser cut it. So.
And Steve, if you flip that over, anyone that does have a laser is thinking about that on the call, we have two-sided as well. So you could put welcome on one side and whatever you'd like on the other side. So in those sheets of same material, we do have a one-sided and a two-sided option to cut down to size.
We got one more question before we hop over to Aaron. And keep the questions coming. We'll get to some more here after Aaron goes through the software with you. But somebody wanted to know about inks. What inks are best? Is there a difference between SubliJet and Easy Subli? And what? Can you give us a little overview on the inks?
Here's what you always want to use a name brand ink. You don't want to go swapping ink around midway through. That's really going to throw things for a wrench. Listen, the Epson ink on this F570 is a little over $20 a bottle. I think it's $24 a bottle for 148 milliliters. It's very affordable. I know it may be tempting to go out there, but you're looking at less than a penny per square inch, probably half a cent per square inch, honestly, with ink and paper with this printer. So your biggest cost is not going to be your ink. It's going to be your substrate and your labor time. It's definitely a cost you want to account for, but don't get caught up in that where you're thinking, oh, don't get me wrong, I understand it's expensive, but stick with what the manufacturer recommends. I know the Sawgrass printer ink is not cheap, but again, if you go and you use someone else's ink, you're throwing a whole nother wrench into it. Yeah, the manufacturers want you to buy their ink, right? That's where they're making their money, but it also is matched for the printer. That's just not a talking line. I have seen it time and time again, where you go messing with ink and changing that can change everything. And if you don't have an ICC profile for that ink, because the inks are matched with the RIP software, so Epson has a color profile that matches with their ink, Sawgrass has Print Manager that matches with their ink, and Sawgrass over time has done different ink formulations as printer technology's gotten better, and they tweak things. So it's definitely differences in the ink. So as long as you're pricing right, again, you'll cover the cost of it. So that's what I love about this Epson, because the ink is so cheap. So I hope that helps.
That was a great answer,
That's
Steve.
my 2 cents.
That was more than 2 cents. That was at least 5 cents.
Okay.
Speaking of that, great transition, because somebody asked about their reds are turning orange, and I think our friend Aaron is going to talk a little bit about
Oh,
that.
for sure.
And we
Yeah.
got a chance that we're going to pop over to talk to
Okay.
Aaron.
It's all yours. We'll just do this magical transition
Okay,
here.
we're going to try this transition here.
So again, Aaron Stout is with our advanced support team. He is the lead there. And if you've called into us, I can guarantee you've most likely talked to Aaron at some point. Aaron's just figuring out how to use a computer for the first time, so bear with us. Just kidding.
No, we're not. There we go. That was my fault. So you are on, Aaron.
All right. Hello, everybody. So we're gonna go through some of the RIP stuff, and one of the first questions we had here was reds are coming out orange, which is a pretty good intro to some of the color situations that might pop up from time to time. Reds turning out orange is kind of a common issue. Sometimes what happens is if you're doing your image and you bring the RIP or you bring your image over, you're not really, maybe you don't have the right profile selected. So I'm gonna go through that and kind of show you some of the things, maybe some adjustments that you can make within the RIP to maybe help resolve that issue.
Hang on one second, Aaron. Now we're good. Sorry, we had a bit of an echo.
So-
I apologize for that.
All right, do I need to start over?
No, you're good.
All right, so one of the things that you want to do in your basic settings, you have your media name here. If you look really close in the image, if I change this from fabric to rigid, you'll see the color shift within the image at some point. Hopefully, maybe slow. Okay, it didn't shift. So there it goes. It just took a little while. So you've seen the background turned really dark. Each one of these is a different profile. So it just is reading the colors a little bit different. So I'm gonna change it back over to fabric here. I have had some customers that are actually sublimating on the fabric, but the colors aren't quite right. And so we end up using the rigid settings because their colors are closer. But one of the things that happens is that people will maybe purchase their images from Etsy or some other maybe third-party company that does artwork, and you're not really sure how the image is provided or what they did to create the image. So when you go into color settings down here on the right, you can make some adjustments, and you can actually see the adjustments come across on the image. One of the things I recommend people to do is to first time check the give priority to embedded profiles. So if you're doing the image by selecting that, it's going to use the profiles that you use to build the image. But if you're not sure, you can uncheck the embedded profile. And then this is a PNG file, so it's an RGB. It's in the RGB color profile category. So if you come down to here into the profile selections, you can see different. You have some different options in here, and the default for like Photoshop and Illustrator is the Epson sRGB. So that's one of the first changes I would recommend people to try, and then do a print. Now remember, if you print, it doesn't necessarily going to show you the correct colors. You have to sublimate it because the colors are going to change a little bit. So this should shift here a little bit. You should get a little bit of a color shift in here. So yeah.
Stress that again about seeing your colors when you
Okay.
print it versus pressing it. Because I know
Yep.
a lot of folks get caught up on that.
Yep. So sometimes, a lot of times, your colors are going to be muted when you print it out on the printer, or they might not just look right at all. But your colors are going to be different after you sublimate them. So your colors are going to be more accurate. All these profiles are created to make the colors after it's sublimated. It's not on the paper. So that's something to always kind of remember. So you can change these different profile settings in here. My computer's running really slow, so I apologize. And Apple RGB is one that people will use too in those settings. And so those are some adjustments that you can try to make and you might have to go through a couple, 3 different pieces of material to try to get the right colors, but it, you know, that's really the only way for you to check that. The other thing that you can do if you're trying to do a color match, this program has a color replacement, which is a very powerful tool. One of the ways to do that, so if you're trying to match, if you have an image and a company, you're doing a company logo and they have a certain PMS red or a certain red that they want to get and you just can't get that red, one of the best ways to do that is to do a color replacement. So so for instance, on this image, I'll hit edit, and then this will bring up my eyedropper, and then I'll just select that color. So when hold on here a second. There we go. Again, moving a little slow here. So I selected just the magenta color down here. It's going to show you the current color, which is what we see here. And then you're able to make adjustments in the CMYK colors. So this is showing you the actual colors that it's being created to make that color, or to make that color. So if you decide that you need to make an adjustment, if you select, again, my computer's running really slow here. Sorry, people, this is, I'm not sure why my computers are being a little goofy here. So you do the output color adjustment chart. I'm gonna guess it's gonna pop up here at some point, and then it's gonna create different colors for you. It's gonna create a color chart for you that's gonna have a bunch of different colors that are close to the magenta color that we selected. And that will then, okay, I think I see what's going on. They're all printing. Nothing like being live, right?
It's the glory of live webinar television kind. It's not really television. It's just webinar.
Webinars, okay. So let me see if I can. Back in here. Now we're doing it. Okay. So if I hit the color output color adjustment chart, it's going to create a chart that's going to have 125 different colors that are going to go off of the magenta color. So if I hit add job here, it's going to give me this color chart that then I will print out, I will sublimate, and then from there I can pick what color matches. And then I know you can't see this, but it's going to give you the CMYK values. So if this number 5 here was the one I wanted, I would take these color values, I would go back into my edit here, and then I will just, let's just say, for instance, again, it's not working. Because it's printing that.
So just a
Sure.
reminder, as Aaron's going through and getting the screen back up here for a second, we will have some more questions for Steve and Courtney once Aaron is done here. And we'll show you a few more products that some folks have pointed out on the board behind Courtney earlier as well. So we'll show you some more sublimation items.
I'm sorry, people. All right. So then once I pick the colors that I need, I can change the color values. So I'm just going to make something drastic here. So now you can kind of see, because I picked that different color, my color has changed from the pink color to the blue color. So you take the values out of that color swatch, add it to these values, and it's going to get you the red or whatever color you need. So that's a couple of different ways that you can get to making those color adjustments within the RIP. Was there any other questions that we had?
Let me see if we have any questions come in. No, somebody said, nice job. That was very helpful. Even with
Thank
your
you.
bumble, see
Holy
there
crap.
with the computer slogging down there a little bit, Aaron.
Aaron, while you're doing that, will you touch on something? We had a question come across too about the warranty on that and the impression of prints, like how many prints is the warranty for? That comes up with a lot of people asking how many prints are on it. What is that covered?
So there's a,
Remember the number?
you're talking about the end of life?
Yes.
So there's a warning that will come up on the printer that will be end of life. I think it's for the ink lines.
Okay.
And I think it's 1 million passes.
Yes.
So 1 million passes. So it's,
But keep in mind, folks, your printer won't stop working necessarily at that point.
Correct.
So it's not going to say, oh, I'm done, okay? So keep that in mind, and you can always do the extended warranty on the printer too.
can I go up to,
Are you going to another section? Are we good?
I think I had one other pre-question but my,
Was it the reds for oranges? The reds were coming out orangey?
no, the one other, I think we had a question that came in beforehand about tiling. So with this RIP, you can also tile an image. So that's basically what you want to do is if the image is bigger than what the paper that you're going to be printing on, and you can tile, it's pretty simple with this program. In the right-hand side, if you go to tiling, you select that image or select that option, you hit enable setting, and then you can actually tell it how many times you want it to break the image up. So on this one, for instance, you might want to do a horizontal or a vertical, I'm sorry, tiling. So if we say we want to have 3, no, I want to do horizontal, sorry. So if I want to have 3 breaks in this, it will break it up into 3 separate prints. So I've actually had a customer that used to do, she does shower curtains and she breaks them up and she tiles them up this way. You can also add overlap to that. So down here, you can kind of see how it's going to overlap. And then you can add as much of an overlap as you want to make it a little bit easier to line it up and make sure that there's no gaps. And then once you have that part laid out, as you can see, there's a little bit of an overgap right here. I made it a little bit big so that way you could see it. Then if I go back to layout, it'll break it up into 3 separate prints. And then when it prints, and then you can lay it out and make one big, you can tape it together, have one big image, and then you can sublimate it onto whatever you're sublimated onto. So other than that, there's no other questions. That's all I have.
Good. Perfect. Back on everybody here. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So I guess we have a few more questions. I think George's going to throw at us here.
That was a dumpster fire.
First one, I'll tackle this first one.
It kept doing the auto print. So
Webinar will be available.
why does that keep clicking on?
Absolutely. All of our webinars are available at jpplus.com/webinar. Usually it's about a day later. So tomorrow this webinar will be up. If you missed anything, you want to go back and watch Aaron's part again. There's a lot of good tips and tricks in there. So that'll be up on our website tomorrow. The other question for the RIP software, someone wanted to know if there was RIP available for the Mac.
That is a negative. So I recommend now, you can run your F570 on a Mac, but you can't run the Edge Print on a Mac. It has to be a Windows base. So if you wanted to run your F570 without the RIP, you could do that. It's just a standard print driver in the driver settings. That's a possibility, but you need a Windows-based PC. Most RIPs for most technologies in this space all run on Windows. Now, there are some folks who run programs that are emulators that you will then run Windows on your Mac and you're going back and forth. So you can do that if you want to tackle it, but something you can do on your own. Okay?
And I'm going to repeat what I just said a few minutes ago because I realized I didn't have the microphones turned up. So if you want to watch the webinar again, it'll be available tomorrow, jpplus.com/webinars. That's where all of our webinars are. That's where you would have signed up for today's webinar. You can catch all of our previous webinars there. So.
And you may not hear us and just no subtitles, so we'll see. We'll see. Okay, what else do we got? Is that it? We might have a few more questions here.
Someone want to know if they could use Edge Print with the F570, the SE version.
Yes, yes. So, yes, you can. Yep.
That's right, we got a giveaway too, Steve.
Oh, okay.
We're giving stuff
What are we
away.
giving away?
That's an excellent
I
question.
don't even know. Let's make something up on the spot.
We're giving away a roll of paper for the
Okay.
Act 570.
All right, so there you go.
So we're
Someone's
gonna-
gonna win some paper.
We're gonna pull a winner here in just 1 second. And then Steve, if you want to go over just where they can find the printer and what else you can
Yeah,
find
of
on our
course, you can
website.
go directly to our website, jpplus.com. You can see the printer, see the substrates. You can call us, you can call me, you can call Courtney. We'll get you to the right salesperson for that and answer any questions you have about sublimation, the equipment. If you have equipment you purchased with us and you need some help, feel free to call our support team. You can schedule an appointment, actually be the best way on the website. You can select there when you want to set an appointment for you that works. So,
And if you have questions about our products that we have at JP Plus, you can give Courtney and her team a call. They are always available and ready to help with suggestions for products, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we have our winner, and this person is going to receive free paper for their Epson F570, and is this Ken? Who writes their E's like this? Ken Cohen. Ken, congratulations. We will reach out to you. Make sure
we hope it's Ken.
Again.
If it's not, sorry, Ken.
it is. I think it's Ken. So Ken, congratulations. We'll reach out to you and get that coordinated. You've won some paper for your F570. So we thank everyone for tuning in.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. This is the first webinar in a while. We, didn't hurt anybody. So, hey, this went off with a hit, without a hitch. So,
Perfect.
all right. Thanks, guys.
Thank
And
you.
again, call us with questions. Everybody have a great day.